Hi guys, I know it's been a while since my last video. Yeah, there's a reason. Well, there's many reasons for that. It's been really hectic on my end. I've got about half an hour to myself at the moment, so I figure I better knock out a video quick because I want to, you guys seem to want to see more, which is very flattering. But sorry if the noise is a bit off. I'm in a different house at the moment, as you can probably tell. Not my room. It's been a while since I had Thomas the Tank Engine memorabilia around my wall and that. But yeah, anyway, um, it's things are hectic at the moment, so I'm not able to make as many of these vids as I would like. I am still replying to comments and all that stuff, and it's been really, I'm very pleased with the feedback I'm getting. I'm glad, I'm honoured to be able to talk to you guys on this stuff, and yeah, so I want to do another video. Sorry, just I don't know, just want to do another video basically. So anyway, this one's gonna deal with patience and tinnitus, basically, as in, I'm afraid to say, as far as I know, there isn't anything major. It's not like with tinnitus, it's not like having a headache where you can take a pill or something and you can have short-term relief. The headache will go away for a few hours. I don't know of many things like that. I know in the comments and stuff we've talked about, warm baths, hot showers and things, white noise, all this sort of stuff that can help mask or help diminish the intensity of the symptoms, but for the most part, for me at the very least, the only thing that offered real short-term relief was focusing on long-term bringing it down and gradually bringing that down, which wasn't a solution for short-term relief. It didn't make the symptoms back off immediately, but over time it did, and that was a wonderful feeling, because the way I looked at it, the time is going to pass anyway. You might as well start working on it, because you can either sit here with the ringing and suffer, which, I hate to be that blunt about it, but you can either sit there and suffer with it, or you can start working on the things that will mean one day, a week down the line, a month down the line, a year down the line even, it will be better, or will be gone, it depends. But yeah, I really want to make the point that you need to be patient with this stuff, which is hard to hear. It's a real, kick in the gut. If you're really suffering, I've talked to a few people that really are, and it's reminded me, how bad mine was when it was at its worst, because it's been about 4 months now since I was really quite emotional with the tinnitus. Sorry, it's been a long day, put it like that. But yeah, it's been quite a long time since I was really panicked and worried, and I do remember, but obviously it's not the same as being there suffering it, and I know that quite a lot of you will be, but I wish I had better advice I could give on it, because although my videos are aimed, I don't deliberately try to make them positive, the bar is that low with positive messages with tinnitus that they seem to come across quite upbeat, which is good, I guess, but yeah, it's weird. Anyway, so this video is just aimed at telling you it takes time. You need to be patient with this stuff. All you can do, the fundamental key bit that will cure your tinnitus or reduce it or whatever you want to call it, get it to back off, is just accepting the fact that it's a nervous system dysfunction that's affected by everything, primarily the big bits, the big players in this game. For me at least, for the way I look at it in my own life and my own personal circumstances, it's just feelings of security and control, being relaxed, calm. If you're constantly tense and worried, your nervous system will get overamped and you'll hear the ringing. It's very clear cut to me, and that knowledge helped me a lot when I was really suffering with the stuff. Just the fact that it's just a dysfunction, there's nothing broke or damaged like that, you just need to work on bringing it down. So yeah, it's sorry, my mind is God knows where at the moment. I'm really trying to keep my thoughts together on this. But yeah, that's the basic point, is just you need to be patient with these things. They take a long time to recover from, whether that means weeks or months or whatever. It takes time. I mean, for example, with myself, the big thing with needing to be patient with tinnitus, or any type of chronic affliction really, that you can improve, the reason you need to be patient is that the things that really affect it, like I've said, day-to-day things in your life you'll overlook. You'll have a rough day at work, your boss will have a go at you, and you'll be, fearful from it. The fight or flight response will kick on, that sort of stuff. And the longer you stay in that, the more dysfunction happens, because your body adapts to whatever the stresses are. Like I've mentioned, for some people, depending on how they look at the world, how they perceive a certain stress, their body will respond differently from another person. For example, if you perceive a stress to be some sort of famine or starvation thing coming on, like say your job's threatened, it means your finances are threatened, it means that you won't be able to feed yourself or put a roof over your head, so your body, in most people, it will respond by, basically, a whole chain of things will happen hormonally. It will lead to you getting fatter, your cells will become more resistant, you'll get hungrier, all this sort of stuff. It's where insulin resistance and leptin resistance and things like that come from. But yeah, that's the way it goes. That'll be for one person. For another person, they'll get skinnier, that sort of thing. Other people, they'll develop tinnitus. So it's important to bear in mind. Oh, sorry, really rough day. But yeah, it's important to bear in mind just how much your day-to-day general lifestyle affects you, on a physical level. Yeah, those are the big things. The longer you spend in a state in your day, especially if you're spending all day in it, generally stressed out and you don't notice it, that has a big effect on you physically. It really doesn't need to be thought of as new agey mumbo jumbo to believe that has a massive effect on your body, which is why the general advice I give is just learn to recognize what makes the tinnitus spike, learn to connect emotionally, to your own emotions, basically. Learn to connect to that, learn to feel when things are stressing you out, and find ways to back off. To back off those thought patterns, those behaviors, those stresses. Learn how to back away from that stuff, because you need to come more and more out of those states to get the tinnitus to really back off. And it's hard to do. It's simple. On paper it's very easy, but like with my own life, there's that many things going on. I really don't have the space to focus on myself personally like that in a way that really improves the tinnitus. And I'm quite pleased with everything that's going on. It's not affecting my tinnitus much. It's staying pretty damn stable, which is remarkable, really. And that's a testament to how much I've improved, because like I say, it was only 4 months ago that I was in a very desperate, painful situation like a lot of you guys watching will be. 4 months is not that long in the grand scheme of things. It seems like an eternity when you're suffering. But yeah, in the grand scheme, it's really not that long, and I'm doing that much better. Like I say, my day-to-day life, I don't worry that much about my tinnitus. If I was stuck with it at the level it's at, I could live with that. I'm not content with it because I know I can cure it, but yeah. Anyway, back in a minute, hold on. Sorry about the interruption, guys. It really is hectic, and I don't mean to keep harping on about it, I don't like being one of those people. It was my main resistance to doing YouTube stuff in the beginning, because I don't want to come across as one of those people that's just so narcissistic and so, lost, like that. I hate that stuff. I really hate it when people come on and just ramble about themselves completely, but the reason why I was motivated to do the YouTube stuff was because when I was really suffering, it sounds corny as hell, it sounds silly, but I remember, because the one thing that kept me going was I had a background of sorts dealing with similar types of chronic issues. Basically, I used to be really heavy. I weighed 18 stone at my heaviest, and I figured out how to reduce that, because it never made sense, that whole calorie thing. And yeah, I will be doing obesity videos at some point in the future, but that's not really relevant here. The point was, I had experience dealing with that stuff and recognizing the limitations of the mainstream medical approach. So with that in mind, I had experience, I had confidence that they weren't aware of the full picture with an ailment like tinnitus, and I was absolutely certain I could cure it. I had to grit and bear the pain, the ringing, 5 different noises, all mad levels of volume, waking me up in the middle of the night, the tears, the pain. It's starting to get suicidal type thoughts with it. I would never say I was suicidal. I was certain I could cure this. But, and it sounds grim to say, but my basic thinking on it was, well, we all have to go someday anyway. It would be silly not to give curing this my best shot first, given, I feel like I'm lucky in that I have a fairly broad scope of the body. I'm not a genius, I'm not, brilliantly smart or anything, but like I say, I've had experience dealing with areas like that and having success with it as well. I don't weigh 18 stone anymore. I'm not sure, it doesn't really matter. It's above 13, it's below 13 and a half, so that's a lot for no diet, no exercise. It looks like magic for people that are still heavy and, are stuck at that weight. But again, that's a separate topic. Where was I? Oh god, I'm gonna check. Sorry, I'm scared. Yeah, I've got my thoughts back now. Yeah, basically, when I was at my worst with the tinnitus stuff, it sounds corny as hell, but I swore if I figured out what the cure was, I would help other people. And, you know, with theirs, I would share my experience, I would share the fact that I, at the time, would have gotten better. I don't know how you'd put it, but yeah, I've gotten better. I feel like I need to share that with people. Because on paper, it's a very simple thing, you know, we're just too overamped, we need to calm the fuck down. That's pretty much it, you know. But yeah, so again, I don't like talking about myself too much and all these sorts of things, but because I just really don't like that with the whole, you know, internet age. Everyone's on, like, well, I was going to say MySpace, but no one's on MySpace. You know, everyone's on Facebook and always chatting about their own problems and stuff, but, you know, it was seeing other people talking about theirs that helped me, so I figure I might as well make these videos on about my own side of it. And yeah, I hope they're helpful, I really do. If not, I'm just an idiot rambling on the internet, and that's fine, there's plenty of them, no one's gonna care about that. So yeah. But anyway, the big topic, again, of this video is just you need to be patient with this stuff. It takes time to make real, lasting changes on the tinnitus, you know, because it's a dysfunction, you know, your body is adapted a certain way, there's that much stress going on in your life, whether you're particularly aware of it or not, you need to learn to recognize it. If I had to write it down, my cure for tinnitus is use that ringing as a, I don't know what you would call it, but as an alarm of sorts. Figure out what things are triggering it in your life, you know, what's making it raise, whatever. And the more connected I'm getting with my body, the more I'm feeling almost a direct connection between what I'm feeling, you know, physically, whether things are stressful or they make me feel, I don't know, whatever you would call it, you know, negative emotional responses. I can feel a direct connection with that to the ringing in my head, you know. And that's very useful, you know. I've said, because Adrian, you know, if you haven't seen his videos, go watch them, they're really good. But he was on about his experience with craniosacral therapy, which is actually, now that I think about it, that is what I would recommend for short-term relief with tinnitus. You know, it's like 60 quid a session or something, but if you're suffering that bad, try it. I haven't tried it myself, and I've got my reasons for that, but I'll get to that in a bit. The key point is that is probably bar none, from what I've seen reported, and the logic behind it, that is the best thing for tinnitus with short-term relief. So find a practitioner, try it out if you've got the money. To me, it won't be the same, obviously, as really addressing all the core stuff, but it can only help, you know. It's not like when you take a pill and the pill will affect other things in the body and you'll have negative side effects. Worst case scenario with the craniosacral therapy, it won't work for you. You know, worst case. And that doesn't happen often from what I've seen. Written about it, you know. Most people experience some sort of positive impact on their tinnitus. So try that if you're really suffering. Because, you know, what's 60 quid, you know, if you're having really dark thoughts about stuff. But yeah, anyway, so let's say my cure on paper is use the tinnitus to find out what things are affecting you that badly in life, and just, yeah, reverse engineer your way back to a non-stress state from that. You know, use that to know what things are stressing you out, what's pissing you off, what's, you know, bringing you down, what's making you feel fearful and threatened, and find a way. That's the tricky bit. You have to find a way to navigate your own life back to it. You know, I've got my own stuff, like I say, it's hectic as hell here. And I don't have the time to really focus on myself, to put myself first and deal with it. If you're suffering that much, you know, that you're having suicidal type thoughts, that is a clear message that you should focus on yourself. You know, this is probably really bad advice to some people, but yeah, you gotta put yourself first if it's that bad. You have to. There's no other way about it. It's because you're not doing it that you've gotten that far out that it's that bad. You know, so seriously give some thought, you know, assess where you're at in life, you know, what your dynamics, the dynamics of the relationships with people around you. Seriously, you know, really just take stock of where you're at, of how the flow of your life is going, you know. So yeah, anyway, I can't quite articulate that in words. It's a feeling I've got, but yeah, anyway. So yeah, and the other big point, like I say, the main idea behind this video is to tell you it takes patience, and I hate having to tell people that. But it does. It takes a long time to fix, you know. Like I say, with the weight stuff I had, didn't come off in one go, you know. It did when you're doing nothing, no exercise or diet, you're not putting any effort to lose weight, it seems like it's happening quick, but it takes a lot of effort, a lot of general chipping away at negative things in your life to make stuff like that happen, to really make a long-lasting, permanent change in your body. It's not like taking a pill quickly or having a surgery that has an immediate, very powerful impact on your life, on your body. It's much more subtle than that, and over the long term, it's more powerful, if you ask me. I wouldn't feel comfortable having craniosacral therapy sessions every week to keep the tinnitus away. I'd want to fucking cure it. I want to find out what's causing it and get rid of that factor from my life. And yeah, the reason why I'm not personally going for craniosacral therapy, other than the fact that I'm pretty broke, I can't afford that for the most part. Maybe a session or two, and I might try it. But basically, the ringing has become incredibly useful to me as a tool to know where there's emotional issues in my life. I'm not at the stage yet where I'm really tuning out and not doing the bad stuff anymore, but I'm recognizing it now, and I'm recognizing it afterwards with the ringing responding, which is an indispensable tool to me to navigate my life and find my way back to a healthier state. And yeah, for me personally, I don't want to interrupt that by having a craniosacral therapy session, which would, for the short term, lower it because someone's cleared out blockages in my head, that sort of thing. That's my feeling on that. But if you are really suffering, try a session of that. It's got to be worth the money if it's that bad. So yeah, I don't know who to recommend or whatever. I know Julian Cohen-Hill does it, so and he's the guy on tinnitus as far as I'm concerned, so if you live near him, try that. But any therapist would probably be pretty good. Give it a shot and see. But anyway, so yeah, my main point with this video is just, you got to be patient with this stuff, and there's going to be rocky patches with it. I've said it before, but there's going to be rocky bits. Like at the moment, my tinnitus is not bad, don't get me wrong. It's not really spiking up from today or, the past week or the past bloody 6 months or whatever. All sorts of stuff going on with family. The point is that I don't have as much time and energy as I would like to dedicate to patching in everything that's bad in my life, that stresses me, that causes my tinnitus to spike, to still be there. I don't have as much time and energy as I would like to do that, but that's okay. This stuff happens over the long term. I'm perfectly content with that fact because I've got it down to a level where I'm pretty comfortable with it. I know I can reduce it later. Things happen in life. You can't focus on yourself all the time, as nice as that would be, I guess, but you can't. Things crop up, things happen, we need to deal with reality. And yeah, all this is about generally getting to a healthier place. It doesn't mean we're going to live lives without stress. It doesn't mean we're never going to experience hardship. It's just your baseline state. You need to be grounded and centered and calm with who you are and where you're at in the world around you. And yeah, that's a hard state to get to, but we can use the tinnitus to find it, Like I say, just use the ringing, reverse engineer from that what's stressing you, and learn to avoid it as best as you can. You won't be able to do it all the time. You won't be able to do it perfectly. It's almost like a skill we've got to practice. But we'll get there, Like I say, my tinnitus is staying pretty steady, and it's an unbelievable amount going on in my life. It really is like a terribly written reality TV show. And I'll stop harping on about it now, because I'm feeling really, full-on millennial MySpace kid looking for attention, feeling like that, which I don't want to come across as. But anyway, so yeah, just, like I say, use the tinnitus to figure out what's stressing you in your life. Learn to back off from that, learn to relax more, feel calmer, more safe, and give it time. There isn't a short-term fix for addressing fundamental core issues in your life and your body. You need to come away from it slowly. You need to do the things you need to do in your life as well, even when they're things that are stressing you, but just generally, you need to do whatever you can. The more time you spend in a relaxed state, the more of an impact it will have on your body. And over time, that will add up. And eventually the tinnitus will come down, even if you're really desperate and, like I say, like I was, crying and, borderline suicidal type thoughts, really dark, desperate times that you're in. Just, yeah, it can improve over the long term. Like I say, just start working on it now, learn to recognize things, even if you don't feel like you're making immediate progress, it will help. It really will. So that's about it. Just keep cutting back on the stresses in your life and learn to be patient, and eventually it will back off. It will help. So yeah, I don't know when I'm going to be able to make another video. I'm sorry if this one's a bit crap. I really don't have the time to do them, and that pisses me off a lot, because I like doing these, and I want to help, I want to help other people with their stuff, because mine has backed off to the point where I've got my life back. I can cope with the stuff going on. Back when I first got the spike, the week after I got the really bad spike, something, I think I've mentioned it before, as a family member nearly died. 4 times they nearly died. Surgeries and stuff, but yeah, and that, I really struggled to deal with that then. But I'm coping way better now, because my emotional boundaries are up more. I feel more secure in myself, even though it's not perfect by any stretch yet, and that reflects itself very well in the tinnitus. It's staying pretty stable. I haven't had a major spike in the past week in spite of what's going on, so I hope this helps you. I hope me talking about my own experience helps, because that's why I'm doing it. Like I say, I don't like coming across as that narcissistic type, person, but I'm running the risk of it doing YouTube videos anyway, so might as well buckle in with it, I think. But yeah, again, just use the tinnitus. It can be a powerful friend if you let it be. Once you're out of that desperate state where you're no longer threatened by it, that is the hardest stage to get through, to get it to back off at all. For any of you new sufferers, just remember, I've said this here, I think it come across as almost wise, but, which was a lucky fucking shot for me. But yeah, your tinnitus will never get worse than it is right now if you start to believe you can heal yourself and you start working on those things. It will only get better over time. So yeah, anyway, I think this is another mess of a video, but it's gonna be. I hope there's some nuggets of, goodness in it or whatever that you can get out of it. I hope there's some useful tips in there somewhere. And yeah, I'll make another video as soon as I can. So, till then, take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.